Wow. Hi, everybody. How we doing so far? Give me something. Give me a little something to work with. I love you too. So much you have no idea. So I think it's important before I launch into the talk of unconventional solutions that I tell you where the hell I come from, because I obviously don't come from here. Although I love Vancouver like it's my own, thank you for allowing me to be here, it's not. I was born in Dundee, Scotland, as you can tell by my thick accent, and was immediately whisked to Tunisia by my father, who's in the oil business, so he dragged my ass around everywhere. He took me to London, England, and then he took me to Calgary at age 5. So I'd not really seen, consciously, any real culture at that point. Just as I was getting settled in my school years and starting to make some friends, he decided that that was a bad idea, so he took me to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, tourist destination. Dartmouth, forever. Raised there till I was 15 years old, and when I was there, I started to learn things really quickly. A, how not to get my ass kicked every day. B, how to kick some ass if I needed to. And C, how people do so much with so little. How to make a $380 bi-weekly paycheck make sense for you and a family. We can't even imagine that, right? It's tough. My dad, just to spice it up a little, got transferred to Nigeria to Warri first, and didn't want me to come. He said, "Oh, you're the man of the house now. You hang out here." I don't listen so well. I went there at Christmas on my 15th year and touched down, chinos, shirt tucked in, think I'm tough as hell. No power in the airport. And a lot of dudes with big-ass guns. Scared the shit out of me. Instantly, obviously. All the tough guy stuff from Dartmouth evaporated quick. So we're driving to the compound, and I say that word because it's a compound, a fenced-off, military-guarded spot. And I see things that I've only ever seen on television or in movies before, and it affects me so deeply that I want to explore it. So I spend the next 3 years, about 10 months of that, exploring Nigeria and understanding the people and the poverty and the struggle and what the hell is going on. And how don't we know about this? Why don't we understand that this is happening? I don't know. This should be major news every day. There's death everywhere. And people are making so much with so little. Unconventional solutions to big problems. Fast forward, I decided to go to university because I want to make a change. I'm going to do something. So I decided to study pre-law philosophy and psychology, obviously. That went real well for me. I lasted the grand total of 2 months at St. Mary's University before my dad also decided to uproot again. He went to Australia. I joined him. I was there for 9 years in Victoria, Melbourne specifically. And in that time, also soaked up as much as I could, and it started my culinary career. I got dropped in Melbourne, and it's a melting pot of all different Asian cuisines and cultures and backgrounds. Second biggest Greek population outside of Athens. Mind blown. We had mall Chinese when I grew up. Egg rolls, chicken balls. So I traveled through Asia specifically because I wanted to find the cuisine and see what was going on. And in that, saw the solutions to cooking. You could cook in an 80-square-foot spot with an induction burner, with a crock pot, with a wok, and make some of the most delicious food I'd ever had. Fast forward again 9 years. I'm being asked to leave the country because of something that's very close to me, and Mr. Solomon hit it early. I get diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease. They're like, you got 2 options. 1, pay for it. We know it's not affordable. Or B, get the fuck out. So I took B. And it wound me back up in Canada. And I traveled Canada. I was like, let's make the best of this situation. Let's find a solution to the problem. I had a great life there. Everything was wonderful. Went to the East Coast, literally take a picture. It was exactly the same as I left it. So that's not going to work out for me. Go to Toronto. It doesn't like me. I don't care for it too much. Love it now. And go all the way across and find myself in Vancouver and find myself immediately in love with this city. And I can't put my finger on it, And it comes to me later in life, I didn't fall in love with Vancouver because of what it was, but because of what I believed it could be. The opportunities were boundless. The downtown east side has got so many beautiful heritage buildings that are uninhabited. Why is nobody down here? In any other major city, this is where you would hang out. This is the meatpacking district. This is the coolest spot in our city. So I go to work for 2 years for another restaurant group. That doesn't work out for me. Decide to consult for a little while. Also does not work out for me. I was a great consultant, as you can imagine. And opened my first restaurant called Bonita, named after my mom, also featured on my neck. Hi, Mom. A block away from Pigeon Park. So for those of you unfamiliar with the downtown east side, we all have one in major cities, the Lower East Side. It's an impoverished area of beautiful architecture, struggle and pain, and also beauty. The most courage, the most love exists in that neighborhood here, and I believe it does in other places. But people are terrified of it, because what's the solution? If I can't solve it, I have to look the fuck away. No, absolutely not. The most enriching neighborhood, and one of the most wonderful places on earth. So I decided I'll do business there because walk-by traffic is so huge. And this spawned something in me. I get excited. I'm like, holy shit, we pulled this off. We have a beautiful restaurant, and it was from here. And we love food, and we love serving people, and we love this neighborhood. And more importantly, we built the restaurant with residents of this neighborhood that just wanted a shot. I can swing a hammer. I can drywall. I can absolutely do the windows. Let me sweep up out front. All of these things, yes. You know what's cheaper than hiring a commercial cleaning company? We were broke. That was our solution, unconventional albeit. We go on to spawn a whole bunch of other businesses. We open a gallery, obviously. We open a clothing retailer, and then a cocktail bar, a sushi restaurant. My amazing partner, Alex Yuso, and I, who is Chinese-Russian descendant, and I'm obviously very white, so that was going to get huge rush. It did. It's great. But what I learned about in Asia, when I saw the small cooking facilities, we applied to our own kitchens. So I'd have chefs walk in and look and be like, you are running a 120-seater with 4 induction burners? Like, yeah, $400, TNT. And then came the beast, the monster that is Save On Meats. You gave me goosebumps with that, by the way. Save On is one of those projects that comes once in your life. I believe this firmly. You get one shot at this. And I think we all have that moment. It's where the deal crosses your desk. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. To give it a little background, I lived in East Vancouver the whole time that I've been here. And at the end of my consulting career, I found myself living with my best friend, Alex Yuso, on his couch in a 400-square-foot apartment. It's safe to say I hit rock bottom. I was bottomed out. I had a vehicle, which was all right, and a little bit of money in the bank. But I used to frequent Save On. I used to go there for 2 reasons. One, because the burger was $3.99 and I could be full for 6-7 hours, heartburn aside. And 2, because of the former owner and his passion and compassion for the neighborhood. It was infectious. He did this for 57 years prior to me. People would walk in and put 81 cents in change on the counter. And he would say, sure, let's figure something out. He would lend the money all the time until Welfare Wednesday came. Always. Not one person didn't pay him back. So we had to channel this into what we do. We took Save On, and to break it down for you quickly, diner that services between 500 and 600 people a day, dignified food. Doesn't matter who you are, as long as you behave. Sandwich window, $1.67 sandwich that we serve over 200 people a day who need nutritious food, who don't want to eat Mr. Freezies or drink Pepsi and eat Doritos. They need an alternative. We provide that. The butcher shop remains, and it is a sense of real pride for us because it also provides any income base access to quality food. We concentrate on food because it's what we do best. If the problem is so big that you have to walk away and do this one, find your piece. You can't bite the whole cake, but you can take a little piece of it and you can try and fix it, and you have to. It's our duty to do this. Because of what? Community. You know what it feels like to be part of a community? To actually be in the guts of it? To be the bones of it? There's no feeling like it. There's nothing like knowing your neighbors and knowing you're working towards a common goal. That particular part of the sentence is exactly what we do. So, looking at the downtown east side from an outside perspective, we have heroin addicts, crack addicts, meth addicts. And that's how we describe them. That's the language we use. Human fucking beings with addiction issues. You look at that as a possible workforce and are possibly terrified. Best workforce on the planet. You know who wants a job? You know who wants to work harder than us? Improve themselves as an important part of society? So we build a model where they're working to feed the people who are struggling in that one step below them. Today, and every other day, we service 7 single-room occupancies, small-room hotels, in the downtown east side, 482 meals. Meals they didn't get before that. You ever been hungry? You know what that feels like? Hangry, pissed off? Imagine that in that situation. Unacceptable. This is your first step back, and it works. People get fed. They understand there's somebody there that's compassionate. We can go and talk to these people, and maybe they'll put us on. Maybe I can do a job with them. It can be 4 hours a week. Yes, it's an unconventional workplace. Yes, it's an unconventional solution, but we wouldn't do anything else. Once you begin the path, that journey, and you become fulfilled by it every day, it's like second nature. It's what you do. Every single person in this room has an itch. Scratch it. Do that. And don't be scared. Do not be afraid. We failed so hard. In every way that you could fuck this meal program, we did it. Every way. You could write them all down and be like, oh yeah, that one too. We did that. But that didn't stop us, and it won't stop us. For clarity, this journey has broken me. I've lost friends, the most important person in my life, and had to rebuild because the level that I took my own brain and exhaustion to literally almost killed me. I changed nothing. And I tell you, there is nothing more invigorating than understanding how flawed you are and still believing that you can do good. I'll leave you with one story. We talk about barrier employment, and what that means is people with barriers. We employ people who are addicted to heroin right now because they need a step somewhere. In 2007, I was leaving my house. It was freezing cold, one of our rare snowy days. And if any of you have been in the neighborhood, there's a guy that is affectionately described as Football Mike. Football Mike essentially looks exactly like Mick Jagger, but can do way more push-ups than him, and cleans the streets. And he always looked pretty put together. And at one point, I saw him, he looked completely disheveled, so we have this conversation. I finally cracked the ice, and I walked to him, I say, hey man, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm not. He didn't speak to anyone. It's like, can we talk about what your situation is? Michael suffers from Asperger's syndrome and also is a heroin addict and crack cocaine addict. Human being. He had to leave a single-room occupancy because of his syndrome. He couldn't cope with the fact that there was bed bugs everywhere. Can you imagine that? Being like that detail-oriented and that freaked out by dirt and then having bed bugs. So he left the SRO and went back to it to collect his belongings, and they had incinerated everything. All of his clothing, non-issue. All of his family photos. And that struck a chord with me. It's like, this is unacceptable. What do we do to fix you? You can't fix somebody. You can only give them a leg up. Mike and I went for a beer, and we discussed the situation. We got him housing, stabilized with great partners of ours. And Mike has worked for me 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. He works on my hours every single day. And we couldn't do what we do without him. The reason the streets are so clean in front of my establishments? Mike Haggerty. Best dude out. But nobody else would give him a shot. The solutions that we see and are conventional aren't necessarily a solution at all. Think outside the box. Enrich your neighborhood. Just do the right thing. Thank you.